What's up YouTube? It is Magic Mistress here today with a video about dolphins. So if you think you may be a dolphin, if you resonate with dolphins or aquatic life or the color brightest blue, then this video is for you. Or you may know a dolphin. I'm going to be going over things that dolphins are known for, things that stick out about dolphins, make them different than other groups. The dolphin is one of the forms in space that we also reside in here. If you are a starseed, you can only have a divine form if you are a starseed, so it's really important to make sure that you look into that, see if you resonate with a certain group, and then you may also have a divine form. A divine form is something that can be compared and contrasted to a human body, and it is something in space that is resonating with your soul. If you have a divine form, it can show psychic abilities you have in this life, your life purpose, key traits about yourself physically and mentally. And in space, each divine form has its own set unique abilities. They can all do different things, travel different places, and the dolphin is one of them that typically resonates in Pleiades or Sirius. So if you are resonating with those starseed types, galaxies, then you may be a dolphin. They can also be angels. That is also paired with the phoenix. Now I'm going to explain how the divine form is different than a human body and how it's similar. If you've ever heard people say that we are the tree, we are nature, we are part of everything, it's all one. This is the law that comes from space. However, when we're on Earth, it can be harder to understand this because in space, everything is one. So your form is your soul. It's not like separate. And in Earth, it's separate. We have our soul, our body, our mind, our spirit, and they're all different, and our life's journey is learning how to connect them, how to actually function with all of them together. Now in space, it's all connected, it's all natural. So your form is your soul. It's just one big thing together. Now, not all starseed types have a form, but if you do have one, that just means that you have extra abilities and it's more prominent in this life. You basically have an extra spice to your life purpose. Dolphins learn as they go. Life events force them to grow, and they often resist bettering themselves until it is their last resort. They like to stay in the flow of life, and really reflecting and learning and studying things is getting them out of the flow of things. They just want to come here to experience life. So they can really put off bettering themselves because that takes a lot of deep reflection, a lot of deep emotions, and they can just put that off until it is forced upon them by their actual life. And because of this, they can attract a lot of extreme or negative life events because that's the only thing really forcing them to dive into themselves. On the outside, they can have a lot of achievements, collectibles, or things they identify with to make up for the loss of identity within. And this can also be seen with they may have spending problems. They can really put their emphasis on the outside, just like the dragons, but it's in a completely different way. And because of this, dolphins and dragons are actually very compatible with each other because it's like the dragons are the evolved dolphin. So dolphins actually really look up to dragons. Dolphins like materialistic things to make up for the void, and dragons like materialistic things because it's creating their life. So dragons don't have a void, they just want materialistic things. And dolphins have a void to fill. So what happens when that void goes away, they can actually just stop caring about materialistic stuff at all. So they can go through many different transformative periods, just like the dragon, but again, in a different way, because it's kind of not up to them. It's like not their own choice. They just may wake up one day and realize that they don't like the things they've always liked, and it's because that void is not there to fill. And then with the dragons, they just like change. They just want to experience. So dolphins and dragons both like to experience life, get the most out of life. They're not really here for the intellectual part of life. The dolphins, they have that void to fill. so they want people around them. But the problem with this is that they don't actually want those people. They just want their void to be filled. So these can be seen as people that are kind of superficial. They don't really want to have a connection with people. It's just like they want someone to be there for them if they need them, so they will create a connection for that. And then when they don't need that void filled anymore, they won't need any friends. And this is actually how both dragons and dolphins function best, which is why they're best paired with each other, because the dragon motivates the dolphin to be better in this aspect. Because it's not good to have connections around just for entertainment. They really like distractions. They don't like to actually sit in the nitty gritty and get dark. They like to just keep things on the surface. They may feel a lot of emotions like anxiety, depression, all of that, but they won't actually get intellectually dark, and that's needed to actually get out of it. So what can happen is that they can stay in a depressive or anxious period for longer than they should because they can't get to the intellectual root of the problem. So then what happens is that when they're in these cycles, they really need friends to talk this out with, and because they just want to talk it out, they're not actually open to listening. So this is why it takes the dolphins more time to grow, and that's why I said they learn as they go. So they can journal, they can reflect, but oftentimes they can't actually grow or find the solution on their own, and then they don't actually want to get to the root of the problem, which prolongs the problem, and that's how it can take them longer to grow. And this is actually all meant to be because their purpose is to learn through others and go through many experiences, meeting many different people in order to spread their light. Yes, when they're in these anxious or depressive episodes, their energy is not completely recharged, but they are never draining to be around. With every dolphin I've met, just talking to them, like, even if they're going through something, it like recharges whoever is in their presence. So they are meant to be around many different people, and most times they will not know that people are using them because they're not actually focused on the friend. And they usually go through abusive relationships that eventually forms their first impulse to defend themselves the rest of their lives, because in childhood their place was not of value. They had to earn their love, and this love was changeable. They usually live their lives in this very selfless manner until something comes along that forces them to be independent, to be confident. And it's usually something very extreme, like an abusive relationship or friends that are very uncalled for, that type of thing. Their parents really saw them as objects, so it was like a very controlled environment. There was no like deep conversations. It was just like there would be tension everywhere, and no one would actually talk about this tension, and then the tension would go on until the person felt better again, but there was never any reflection conversation going on there. So therefore they learned that the only way to actually feel better is to just get rid of the emotion and not get to the root of the problem. And because of this, they were stunted from finding their true potential, and it is their life's purpose to be on the journey to find it. They can struggle with being separated from their soul, as they can be in a low vibrational space around the wrong people. And the thing that really helps them actually get in touch with their intellect is protecting their energy. Because if you think of it, when they reflect, it's just venting. It's just getting rid of the emotion. So if there's no emotion to get rid of, and they're actually just in a really balanced space because they're protecting their energy, then they can begin to do the soul work. Some physical traits that you can notice a dolphin with are that they have undertones of pale white, purple, blue, and they usually have blue eyes. Brightest blue is usually their favorite color, and more often than not, they are from the galaxies of Pleiades and Sirius. And both of these galaxies are inherent to emotion rather than intellect, so that's why I say that they're usually inherently from there. Their body types can vary, but the key features of the face are an upturned nose, and the top lip forms a curve. So these people, I always say that they have like the perfect aesthetic lips, like the lips that you see on Instagram where they're doing the lipstick. that's what they have, because their top lip curves upward. It almost touches their nose. Another thing that is noticeable is that their two front teeth stick out more than the rest, and their teeth are usually uniform. So if any of that resonates with you physically or mentally, these may be signs that you are a dolphin. If you learned something, if you resonated with it, I would love to hear about that in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.